G'day folks, welcome to this playthrough of Scenario 1, the battle for, or the fight for Kesternich from Wacht, Rhein, part of that GOSS series published by Decision Games. I played through this scenario earlier. It resulted in a German victory, and that was using the original scenario setup instructions from the rules as published. I noticed that the revised exclusive rules for the title changed things a little bit. So I've gone back to the beginning, learning some valuable lessons from that playthrough and all the feedback I've received, so thank you everyone. And starting from scratch. In that first turn, the Americans had, got off to a great start, but that happened in the first time I played through. They pushed back the Germans from this right flank. They've captured Kesternich. You can see it here. It's very hard to pick up these counters, but it's under that hex there. I'm having trouble with these counters. They just don't want to pick up together. So the Americans have secured one. If I move all these guys out of the way, you can see it. That's flipped over. There it is. That's one of their, in fact, that's their main objective. And they hold this quite strongly with 6 steps. 5 steps of infantry and that M4 company. They've also pushed out on the right flank of that German position as well. This was through a pretty good combination of effective artillery and some good combat rolls. Out in the, what are we calling here, the southwest, things didn't go quite well. We did have this formation stack rather move towards the Germans and try and push in on the left here. They faltered. This was a bit of a standoff, fatigue for both sides. I'm not very proficient with the fatigue rules, so I might need to double check that. Affects fatigue 1, they reduce their MA by half, reduce their combat strength by half, reduce their barrage strength by half. They can't recover unless basically they don't move during the friendly move phase, don't participate in a ground assault, or receive any result from an FS mission. So I think, yeah, both the Germans and the Americans will be locked into that fatigue status for at least the next turn. Friendly combat phase. No, actually, if the Germans don't move and they don't participate, they may be able to recover fatigue. So I might try and do that. That might be more prudent. What they were trying to do is push the Americans back out of this area here, push them back out of Kesternich, but we might just hold those guys there, let them recover fatigue. The Americans up here, as I mentioned, this stack got pushed right back. They were forced to retreat. I can't recall what this was. I think it was... it must have been German defensive artillery fire, which really hurt them. In fact, a few step losses amongst the Americans as well. So we're on to turn 2, and we're looking at the mode... No, sorry, not up. Yeah, we're up to turn 1, sorry, and this is the German combat phase. So the Germans are just about to assault this hex here. They've burnt through their artillery points already. And yeah, we're basically looking at this hex. It does have some rough terrain. It has a village in there. So we'll be looking at line 2 for the CRT. They have a combat strength of 17. So that's a very strong hex there. What are the Germans bringing to this combat? They have got... Okay, so it's reduced to 3, it's half. 3, oh no, sorry, an attack, it'll be 2, half of the 3, 2, 3, nothing there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ouch. 9 on 17. So we're looking at 1 to 2. These are pretty horrific odds. I wonder if it's even worth it. Well, 1 to 2. That's pretty horrific odds. I don't think we'll bother because that is a really bad... So changing the plan, taking these guys out of prepared assault mode, I think they'll just hold. Germans will hold their ground, focus on defence, focus on recovering that fatigue. I did have this combat reserve which could have helped a little bit, but we'll cancel those plans as well. So, no German movement. We'll keep everyone how they are. It'd be nice to pull these guys back, but they need to not move to recover fatigue. No German combat. And in the German administrative phase, if I understand the fatigue recovery rules correctly, they can remove that fatigue 1 marker. That unit did not move, did not participate in a ground assault, did not receive a result during their friendly combat phase. This is where the Americans could use their defensive artillery if they had any available. Okay, so observation as well. We need to think about if they're a leg unit. What have we got here? We've got a mix of armour. They're in horrific... Actually, geez, we might need to wind that right back because they are, I'm pretty sure, observed. They are in, at best, rough terrain, which rough terrain is... It's not covering terrain. So they can be seen. And they can't recover from fatigue if they can be observed, unfortunately. Whether they're a mech unit, they can't be adjacent to an enemy unit and not observed. If they're a leg unit, they can't be observed. So unfortunately, alright, do we go back then to the plans to attack the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? No, they're still horrific odds to attack this hex. So look, we're not going to be able to recover fatigue, but we're also not going to waste... The Germans don't really have great offensive capabilities here. They're in principally a defensive position, have good defensive modifiers, we'll just hold and defend. Yeah. Actually be worse than that because their combat strength is halved. So a lot of factors just encouraging me to hold as a German. So they'll hold, they'll do nothing, and we'll head straight into the second turn, where it's back to the Americans, and they need to make their mode determination phase. Well, what do? They try to swing around from the northeast. They need to get into, I believe it's... Where is this hex here? Where Hammer is. It's a long way to go. This hex can be... This stack here can be brought into the combat. We can bring them down south. Maybe we try and focus on that fatigued German formation in the centre, push them out of their entrenchments and try to punch through maybe and roll up that German left flank. Yeah, it's defense of 8 there, 5 there, whereas they'll be halved in the centre here. So maybe I'll do both. Yeah, what the heck. So, or can I push on the far left flank as well? Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Come down here, bring this formation out and around. So, oh geez, so we can't, we've got a long way to go. Prepared assault units can only move 1 hex. I could launch a tactical assault down here. Maybe I'll do that. So, if I place these guys under a tactical assault marker and aim for them to hit here, if I place these guys into prepared assault, place these guys into prepared assault, place them into prepared assault, and I'm sure we can get the engineers involved as well, this big engineer battalion, place them into prepared assault, and we'll figure out the details in just a moment. Okay, so mode determination is done. Construction phase, no construction for the Americans. In fact, I kind of skipped over that for the Germans, but they did have engineers there. Too late, I guess. I'll worry about that next time. Movement phase. Okay, so let's think about this. That's a pretty straightforward move. This is going to be more difficult around here, because what I'd like to do, I need to think about, I think I want to shift the line 1 hex to the left. I think I can do this. So there's an entrenchment there, so field work, defensive work's there. Are there restrictions on moving? I know there'll be a movement halt for moving adjacent to those German units. In the field works. Defensive works. A movement hold occurs when a unit moves next to an enemy unit in an entrenchment. Leg class units expend 1 additional MP when moving adjacent to an enemy. It's on an ET3. I don't think there's anything that units may start and end their movement adjacent to enemy units. Now, hold on though. Okay, what else do we need to think about? Minimum movement. You may always move 1 hex, provided it doesn't violate constricted terrain, prohibited hex side. They expend all their printed MA. I can't see anything that would stop me doing that. PA movement may use PA movement 5.2.3. Flicking through all the possible rules that may stop me doing this. 5.2.3 PA movement. Cannot enter or cross prohibited terrain. Well, that's not prohibited terrain there. It's not prohibited, yeah. Must halt as soon as they're adjacent to an enemy unit. May move 1 hex. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do this. I say with confidence, waiting for someone to point out this rules error. So we're shifting along to here. We're going to shift, so down to 1 step. I really want to hold. That. We'll bring the engineers here. I think we'll leave the tank there. Try to focus 3 of these guys here and 1 push out on the far left with a strength of, that won't be much, it'll be about 1 to 1. Maybe I'll just focus on the centre here because that's really all I need. So if we bring that other tank down there, and I push the engineers, stuffing up all these movements, keep the engineers out there on the right. Okay, should have thought about that a bit more carefully, but I wanted to make sure I'm defending that left flank, defending Kesternich in some strength, whilst also pushing out the Germans from here. That's movement done. Now we get to the combat phase, and basically there'll be, do I want to push out here? 3, 4, 5, I'll have 1 to 1 in the forest, probably a bad idea. So I probably won't attack. I'll declare using that voluntary PA removal. I'd like to remove that. This is the first step in the combat phase. I can't remember what it's called. It's called... Trying to find the sequence of play. It is called the... Oh, what's it called? Assault Status Adjustment Segment. Okay, so I don't designate these TA yet. That happens now. I designate units that will make tactical assaults. Then the fire support segment, and then the attacker status adjustment. So I don't do this yet. Let's do this technically in order. Fire support. Okay, first of all, defender fire support first. Where do they want to attack? Technically, I think they want to hit here. Try and hit this tactical assault formation. Oh geez, they are densely stacked. So they will put the Germans will fire a fire support mission there, strength of 8, plus a die roll of 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now they're under a tactical assault marker. Do they benefit from terrain? I know units under a PA don't. I'll need to double check if that is extended to TA as well. So I need to go to the fire support section of the rules, try to find the terrain modifiers. Attack designated, so it's any attack designation, they don't get the terrain modifiers. So they ignore that forest, they are densely stacked. Trying to find relevant modifiers for stacking. It is a mixed, I think, don't have armor there. Yeah, it's a mixed armor group. So I do get a mixed armor modifier of -2. So that brings it down from 11 to 9. Unit density though, 7 or more, +2. So back up to 11. Are there any other conditions? I should point out it's observation. Okay, nobody's in. They can be observed because they're in open terrain. Wide open terrain, so they can be observed easily. I think that's it. So the result is an 11, which is an armor shift. Sorry, artillery shift, and 1 discretionary hit. Sorry, when I say discretionary hit, 1 numerical hit. This is fire support. They will apply 1 step as a step loss because they don't want to retreat. .6.2. Yeah, they don't want to retreat, so it'll be a step loss. And take on that armor. I think that's legal. Takes from a unit of my choice. Yeah, that's all done. All right, so now the Americans can respond with their own artillery, and I'm kind of tempted to pour two volleys into this hex just to really soften it up. Tempted, but probably more prudent to spread them out. So I'll do 8 here, 8 here. First target here is going to be tough. 8 plus 1 is 9. It's going to be -4, I think, at least. So that'll be no effect. I know already. With a roll of 1, that'll be less than 7. I won't even bother adding it up because I don't think I can get higher than that. We'll do the center hex now. 8 plus 8 is 16. They have level 2 entrenchment, which and they're in rough. Rough gives them -1, so it's -3. So 16 minus 3. They have density of 3, so no modifier there. 16 minus 3 is 13, which is a total of 2 numerical hits. Okay, so they have to take the first one as a step loss. And okay, they'll take a step off their infantry because their armor is going to be pretty important here. That single company of Hertz's. Second one, ouch. If numerical hits remain, apologies for my fingers, must make a PRC using the defensive PR of the lowest unit. Alright, so they have a PR of 6, they have a PR of 6, so we roll the dice, and we get a 0, so they're fine. They pass that, the units remain, we apply 1 numerical hit as a step loss. Okay, Jeez, ouch. Applies 1 hit as a step loss. Armour or infantry? I think I have to apply to the armour. Keep the infantry in the hex. There goes the Hertzes. Wait, actually, because they're in an entrenchment. Doesn't matter. It's not an ET3. And it's too late anyway. Should have retreated. Should have probably retreated from that, but lesson learned. You've got 2 hits, just get the heck out of there. Rather than trying to hold your ground. Because now the Americans seem to smash into that. That's their fire support. Now we'll do the attacker status adjustment check and remove that prepared assault marker. I think I can do that voluntarily. I need to check that again. Attacker status adjustment check. Voluntary removal if they're in maneuver combat terrain, which they are. They can remain in their hex. If they're not, they have to do a PRC, but they are anyway, so that's all good. They can do that legally. Alright, now on to the ground assault phase. We'll do the hard one first. We have got 7, 8, 9, 10 attacking into here with a defense of 5. We have no strength modifiers, but we do have some column shifts, so they're not in PA. There's no artillery shift marker on defenders. But there is an AS on the attackers, so we go from 2 to 1, and we're looking at forest here, so woods, rough woods, line 3. So we go from 2 to 1, line 3, down to 3 to 2, line 3. We can also call upon these adjacent defenders to make it 3 to 2, goes down to 1.25 to 1. This is not looking good. Did I have engineers in this stack? Yes, I do. I have engineers who can negate each attacking stack that contains an engineer, negates 1 shift due to defensive works. Where are those shifts due to defensive works? Okay, so there's meant to be a shift for defensive works, which I can negate. I need to be mindful of that. That's the engineers. Now, so that's down to 1.25 to 1. Combat die roll modifiers. Alright, what is their proficiency rating? 6 versus 6, so no modifiers there. What about combat reserve? There's no combat reserve in the area. What about regimental integrity bonus? So are they adjacent to 981? Yes, so the Germans will get the integrity bonus. I don't think the attackers do, because they have to be attacking. Only the defenders get the adjacency bonus. So that's 1 bonus for the Germans. Armour, however, is probably going to shift this back. We're going to have 2. Actually, no, it won't. 2, but they're in woods, which reduces it by 2. So we're looking at one bonus to the Germans on that 1.25, so -5 dice roll modifier. Attacker die roll is 92, 1.25 brings it back to 87, which gives them a 1 discretionary hit on the Germans. And the Germans roll 31, which brings it back to 26, which gives them 2 mandatory hits, 1 discretionary hit, and a PR. PR check is failed, so that's 2 discretionary, 2 mandatory hits on these guys. Ouch, ouch, ouch. 1, 2, and heck, they'll get out of there. 1, 2. Ugh. Terrible results. 1 discretionary hit on these guys. What do the Germans want to do? They like their position there. They'll try to hold their position, make a PRC. They pass with a roll of 4. And I think that's it. They ran the hex. No remaining discretionary hits. So that tactical assault did not go well for the Americans. Lesson learned there. Don't go in half-hearted. Now, however, I've got this massive attack on what I think is just this little bit of German armour remaining. Combat strength is halved. They are in entrenchment 2. Oh, geez, it's not an armour, sorry. Infantry at a strength of, defending at a strength of 2. So that's 4, halved because they're on their last step. Halved again to 1. This is going to be off the charts. Yeah, way off the chart because we're bringing everything into here. What do we need to think about in terms of column shifts for these guys? Well, I don't think we need to worry about column shifts. It's off the chart. We're just looking at die roll modifiers. Proficiency rating bonus. Now they are... Oh, I forgot. They are in an entrenchment, which increases their PR by 1. So these guys go up to 7. What's the best these guys can muster? A 6, I think. So the Germans get 1 bonus there, I'm fairly sure. Yep, so that's 1 bonus for the Germans. Regimental integrity. I'm pretty sure the Americans would have that. Do they have any? They need a battalion, so the Germans can't qualify there. 310. Do I have another 310 participating? Yes, I do. So that cancels out the German bonus. Now the armour bonus. We have 4 versus their 0. And it's in restricted terrain. That shouldn't matter anyway. Rough. So armour in rough. -1 to a maximum of 4 gives me 3 American bonuses for a plus 15 dice roll modifier on the 7 to 1 column of line 2. Okay, plus 15. Roll 30, bring it up to 45, which is 1 mandatory, 1 discretionary, 1 PR check. And the Germans roll a 34, brings it to 49, which is 1 PRC. Americans pass. Germans fail, but they have a hit to resolve anyway, and they'll be eliminated. And now the Americans can advance into that hex. We'll remove their prepared assault markers. So you can see they're kind of trying to punch through the German positions here to get to Hammer, which puts the Germans into a difficult position. They're going to have to pull back from their positions now. But I think I'll round it off here and have a think about that. I think I've made some mistakes there. I forgot to do the PRC bonus here, which would have given the Germans another bonus modifier. I don't think the roll would have mattered too much. What else? Look, there's probably other stuff that I've missed. I'll have a think about it. But we'll round it off here. Thank you everybody for watching, and take care.